Hello, welcome to another episode of Life with the Lost. Like always, I'm Sam, and
I'm Megan.
wow, what a week! What a week it's been.
And you weren't on for the last episode.
I wasn't. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of things, just behind the scenes, trying to reamp the podcast, specifically with the addition of adding video, which we both feel would be better for just explanation of like
It's better context to see like what we're doing, like our facial expressions, kind of everything. It was really fun. We used to do that for a little bit, and it took forever to kind of set it up.
Because we always had to reset it up.
Yeah, and we didn't have our own space, and now we're taking all these really cool steps to do so. And you want to tell everybody what we're building?
Yeah, we're building this kind of like cool little like podcast cave. So we could just, when we do a podcast, we can get in the zone and just feel comfortable. I think that's the most important part of anything that you enjoy to do, is just having a certain level of comfortability when you begin the continuation of a project that you're doing, instead of having to go through all of these kind of non-extra steps that you don't really need to go through.
Yeah, so then we'll be ready and we'll just be able to throw it up and start.
Yeah.
And press play. So I'm really excited for that. And we just need a few pieces of lumber we have to go get. And then we get to start decorating it.
Yep. And that should be pretty fun.
But you have an idea kind of in your mind.
Yeah. It's kind of going to be interesting because trying to have what you envision in your mind, but also, be financially like reasonable, not trying to break the bank.
Yeah.
But making decisions that, make it nice. So I have some ideas to.
You want to start off with highs and lows too?
Yeah. So highs and lows. Honestly, I'm gonna say the low was kind of last night. It was just we were taking care of my mom's dog Motek, and I think as he gets older, he's just changing like everyone does. And last night was just really rough because he is a nervous dog, and for whatever reason, I think there wasn't a fan on, so I think he was like hearing a lot of sounds, and it was just very skittish, and none of us really could go to sleep. I stayed up late playing some Call of Duty with a good friend of mine, and
I tried to go to sleep around like 10 maybe.
Yeah, so
I was trying all night to get to sleep, and it was driving me nuts. Yeah. I did everything. I put headphones on, but he was just very fidgety, and that was definitely my low too. It's just my alarm is set for 4 a.m. every single day, so when you come to bed around 2 and then he's just up the entire time rolling around and getting anxious and nervous for every sound he hears, which you're in New York City, you're bound to hear so many things at night. But I think that was the one thing we didn't sleep with last night was a fan, so he was very overly stimulated last night. And he wanted to play, so then I came out, did my thing at 4 o'clock in the morning, and he was looking for Oreo's ball. He was really upset that Oreo was still sleeping. It was a mess, and I was like, all right. Around 4:30, I said, I'm going to just take him home.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. So I took him home. I grabbed Oreo, too, because I felt like it was, he could be my little watchdog as I was walking over to your mom's, and I feel like he hears things, and he's a lot more sensitive to surroundings than I am. So if there's somebody behind us or somebody I didn't see, he would be right there kind of making up for that, for my lack of seeing or hearing.
Yeah, I feel that.
So that was a nice little journey this morning, but
yes, so that was definitely like a lower part. But a high was, I guess, earlier that day. It was just like a really nice day of just busy with Maya and just having her just with her friends throughout the morning. She had a birthday party to attend, which was really nice. I went to the gym, then picked her up from the birthday, and then we went to hang out with one of her good friends. And we went to the park. I always like the idea of my like being outside and playing and stuff. It, getting some fresh air. She doesn't go to the park a lot, so it was really nice to see her just enjoy playing like a kid in the park like I used to. Definitely when I was younger, I would go to the park a lot more than she does at her age. So it was really nice. And then we went back to her friends and we got Wingstop, just demolished like 20 wings, just pure gluttony. But it was great. It was great. Got some chicken nuggets and french fries from like our deli, and I really liked it. She said it tasted like McDonald's nuggets.
Really?
Yeah. So that was nice, and played some Call of Duty again, which was nice. Had to take turns though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Two people can't play?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
It sucks. That's why like we can actually play
when
he's here, which is like
there.
This completely takes the just social experience out of everything. Mm-hmm. I wish for a lot of things, but just, why can't you just give us the ability to just like pop in a second player? But whatever.
Why do you think they don't let you do that?
More money probably, because
you have to have another
account.
Yeah.
So therefore you need to pay, or
therefore you need another console, right?
Yep. So everyone wins but the people who enjoy it. But whatever. It was nice. I ended up playing a little longer when I got home. And so that was a high. What about you? What are your highs and lows?
I think I don't remember if I talked about this last weekend, but I guess it kind of merges. Well, Monday it was Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and we spent the day building in the room, and it was just really funny because we didn't really know what we were doing per se. I mean, like, we knew what we were doing, but these pieces, we just had to put them together, and it was kind of overwhelming. But it was really funny, and yeah, I think that was a high just because it was funny. And a low, would probably be last night. Just kind of a bit rough of a night, but yes.
Yeah. I just, I don't know, something just popped in my mind. Just, anyone who's listening, anyone who keeps up with the things that we talk about on our podcast, I just want to say that, I apologize if I ever sounded to you angry or too intense on certain subjects about being adopted or being brown or being different than, I guess, my peers around me, and just having very strong opinions. With a strong sense of conviction. It just stems from a place of just feeling just beat down a lot from when I was the youngest age I can remember. Just always feeling like I had to fight for my existence in this world with my friends, of demographics, of camp, of school, of just friends in the neighborhood. It was just, I don't know, being a kid of color, I definitely felt the brunt of being judged differently than my white peers, and it didn't always rub the right way. And the reality is that I just feel really sad that I even have to kind of have these feelings of frustration and anger, but it stems from sadness, because I don't want to be a angry dude. But I do also feel some sense of responsibility to my existence, to the point where I don't like when somebody treats me different or looks at me different, neither do I even know how to handle it. I don't, but I see it. And it's just hard sometimes. So I apologize if I maybe have offended anybody or just, I don't know, come off in a weird way.
That you're bringing this up.
Yeah.
Because last week, that's kind of what I was talking about on the podcast a little bit. But it kind of plays off what we were talking about this week earlier, just with how it's I can see how and why you feel like you've been beaten down so much just being in the city, because where I came from, it wasn't like, yes, I was an outlier, but it wasn't brought up nearly as much as it's been the past, 5 or 6 years I've been here. And I feel like I don't even feel like the brunt of it, majority of it is you.
Yeah.
Like when we go outside, I don't have as much problems with people. Not that you're causing problems, but it seems like a lot of people start things with you a lot more than with me. And to have to go through that for 31 years.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal. Like even today, just coming back from the gym, I get to the gym, taking off my sweater and my jacket, and I'm using the restroom. And as I finish using the restroom, as I am washing my hands, I'm walking away from the sinks, and I see a black man looking at me through a mirror at me. at like me, and I noticed it. I felt something, and I looked back at him, and I, in this very split moment, had a decision to make where I can let it go in a way. I was just being like, oh, he's just looking at me, or I just continue to look at him looking at me. Mm-hmm. And somehow me looking at him looking at me kind of enraged something in him to deem it a form of like a threatening or physical kind of escalational proceeding. And I felt it, but in my mind, I am simply just, maybe it's like a primitive thing. I don't know if anyone experiences something like that, especially like a man, a male thing in the gym or in interactions where somebody's looking at you, and do you look at them back as if kind of saying like, hey, what's up? Like I'm here, I'm not gonna, shy away from somebody looking at me, because I feel like I too also have a prior problem with always darting my eyes and not trying to make eye contact with people, because I don't want problems, and I just want to be a very submissive person and not look for confrontation, even though I feel like I'm already fighting for my own existence at a default. So it's a hard decision to make anytime I make it, but I decided in this moment to just kind of look at him back, kind of like, hi, I'm here too. I'm not, you looking at me isn't scaring me. Like, I'm not gonna like take that anything further, but it's just like, do you know what I mean? Like as a guy, like
it's a feeling. It's not just a look too. It's kind of,
it's like he was sizing me up even before I noticed he was looking at me, like as if he was interested in me. It's like not like sexually or like any other interest, but he was just kind of like looking at me like, kind of like, who are you? Like, I don't even know how to describe it. He's just giving me that weird look. And I, as a man, I guess, I don't know if any other guys can relate to this, but you always had the decision when somebody's looking at you to either look at them back and kind of posture yourself, or just kind of say like, oops, sorry, and just kind of dart your eyes and just like walk away. Yeah. And this time I didn't, because, I'm just like, dude, I exist. He locked eyes with me too. And we just gave each other a good long stare. Jesus. Like, and I was already in the process, like I said, of walking away from the sink and walking away from the mirror. So I inevitably like just kept walking. But in my mind, I was like, I felt bad, because I'm just like, why did that even need to happen? Why did you even need to look at me? And somebody can say, well, why did you look back, Sam? Why did you interact with him? Why do you care about somebody looking at you?
Or give him
it doesn't
time
matter. It doesn't matter about this, but like, it does though. It does matter, because if you, I don't know, it's like the principle to a certain degree. If you let everybody walk over you because, they don't matter, because the only thing that matters is what you want to do in your life and the goals that you want to, set forth, it's only a matter of time, I feel, when you truly start to believe that you are you have a low enough self-esteem where you can just feel like it's okay for people to walk over you. Mm-hmm. And that's the part of me, that's the fire that burns inside me that kind of says, no, like I don't want anybody to walk over me. Like, that's what clashes with my nice side of just like wanting to just be chill and be like happy, not just be relaxful, and not like not like feel like I always need to confront confrontation. But I feel as though if I don't confront confrontation all the time, that eventually I'll feel as though that I shouldn't, or that it's not worth it. But then I think too, what if it's an emergency situation where I need to be able to defend somebody? I need to be able to, because the city is a very dangerous place, and at any given moment, something could happen. And if you don't have that mindset of just
being ready,
being able to be brave and confront somebody who is attacking you or attacking somebody that you love, how are you going to be able to turn that on when you need it the most in your life, when your life depends on it, the life of somebody? And I know it's a very drastic scenario to have, but sometimes, you need to have that, especially like again, other men. I don't know if you feel like this, but that primitive instinct to just need to be a protector, to be a provider, that I don't know, that ego, that I don't know what you call it, but that angst to be ready. When that ready is, what that means, I have no idea. But
and I think in the city, it's a lot. It's very common that you see so many people on a daily basis. You're walking just down the street. It feels like when I take him out, we're seeing at least 100 people just doing their thing, whether they're walking their dogs or going home or going to work. It's a lot, and I think that's the default, right? Is to look down and just to say like I don't want any problems. But also, lately, I've been doing exactly what you just said you did, is look back. And when somebody's looking at me, I don't stop until we walk away from each other if they're kind of coming towards me, because sometimes it does get really uncomfortable. I don't ever think that it's going to really lead into anything, but it's almost like a power struggle.
Yeah.
Kind of, where I feel like if I look down, you could do one thing, and it's either grab my dog or grab me, and that second I need. And I think that
to be honest, it's like I wish that was the case. I wish that was the reality of the situation. But I feel a lot of times it's not, and it's more of a mental like loss. At what point is somebody just going to look at you? Well, maybe it's just a different way, because I feel as though when people look at me, they look at me out of fear. They look at me like I'm going to hurt them, or I'm going to jump behind them and steal their wallet. And therefore, it hurts me. Yeah. So it's not like I wish, I could look at it like maybe about like, oh, what can they do to me? But that's, I guess, a different. Yeah. I also pose that question to anybody out there too, who's like adopted, who's a guy who grew up in the city. If anyone else felt like that, because I guess for me, I come from a very specific part of the world where my skin is brown, where I look like a smaller dude, and for some weird reason it rubs people the wrong way, as if like I'm swimming upstream when everyone's swimming down. And it even comes maybe that's one of the reasons why I don't like going out sometimes, because I walk in a different pace than everybody else. I don't walk fast enough with everybody else, but I don't walk slow enough with the other group of people. So therefore I'm in the middle. Like, in traffic, when you're on the highway and there's like people in the middle of you, up front and behind, people who obey kind of the speed limit, but people are going faster, and you're like kind of in that middle. I feel like that. And so it's like, and then it's annoying because then a woman catches my glance. No, they sense somebody's behind them
and turn around,
but they don't. They kind of do like this back shoulder, kind of like they just look a little bit, and I'm just like, damn, why are you even looking? Like,
I have a question.
Do I even?
Would you rather have somebody turn around fully? Because that's me. Like, I don't even do the half turn. Just speaking like as a woman, when I walk outside and it's night, like this morning going to take Motek home, my whole body, I turn around quick. and I do it multiple times on a block because if you're following me, if you're looking at me, like I want to see who's behind me. I'm gonna catch you. Like maybe not. Maybe these people aren't doing anything to me, but I know that I'm not a fighter. I'm not. My body isn't built to fight. And I've never really had to throw hands or do any of that before. So the only thing I can do is run. So for me, my perspective of that is I'm constantly looking around just in case I have to run. I don't give a fuck who you are if you're black, like blue, green, yellow, white. It doesn't matter. I don't like it. And even if you're a woman, I don't like being around a lot of people, especially at nighttime when I'm walking Oreo or just by myself. So I don't know if that's maybe another kind of side of it too, because I'm sure there's a lot of really nice people out there, and I probably rub them the wrong way because they're like, oh, why she gotta look at me? And that the same thing happens to me when somebody looks behind me. I'm like, yo, I'm here. I'm not gonna hurt you, but they don't know that. They don't know me. They don't know anything about me. I don't know anything about them. So that's kind of a frustrating thing. And in those moments, I don't even know what's best. It's like when two dogs are meeting for the first time on the street and somebody's like, whoa, 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 is your dog nice? And in my head, I'm like, yo, yeah, my dog's nice. Why would you even assume? But then I have to remember too how many times Oreo's been attacked and think maybe their dog has been attacked too. So then I pull myself back. I'm like, yeah, he's nice. He's just A, B, and C, or whatever the case is. And
Yeah.
that's easier with dogs, right? But people aren't going to say like, hey, bro, like, are you trying to do A, B, and C? Like, people aren't like that. So then they give you looks, and that's kind of how people communicate.
And a lot of it is like, I genuinely feel like I don't mean to like be aggressive with you or anything, but a lot of my mental thought processes and the solutions that I come to in my mind are further evolved than yours in the situations when you're talking about interactions with people on the street. And I'll give you the example of you just stated right there. What I would think if I was in your situation and somebody asked me if my dog's nice, I'm sitting there thinking, wow, is it because I'm brown that you think that I would create a negative environment for my dog to be aggressive for your environment of like pure chillness and niceness?
But does everything have to relate back to your skin?
But that's what I'm trying to say, is because I've grown up in an environment where that's all I've kind of been taught in my life. It only shows me like the worst case scenarios of certain instances in my mind. And in that instance, I can't read it because I don't know this hypothetical person's facial expression. I don't know the tone and what they're saying. All I know is that they say, is your dog nice or not? And in my mind, like sometimes I'd be like, well, yeah, he's nice, kind of. And in my mind, I wouldn't even have, I don't know. I wouldn't have even like, if that was a question of this person, I would have just picked my dog up and just said, I'm leaving, because I don't know. Maybe it's my own. See, this is where I feel like I'm fucked in the head. Like I'm so warped in my perception of just the world that I live in. I just, I'm not saying that anything I say is right. I'm just going with like the experiences that I've specifically had, which is why I try so desperately to try and relate and cling on to anybody who feels somewhat similar than me. And I'm not saying that it's right or that you should feel like that. I just feel really sad. I feel really sad of the product that I've turned into, in terms of always feeling like somebody's, afraid of me. Or because I feel like there's so many adoptee women out there who can just don't even understand, who live in the city and who have so many different issues with life than me. I feel like I'm an anomaly. Like what other Peruvian boy grew up in the city that I know of? I don't know anybody. I mean, I know a few Peruvian girls who grew up in the city, but boys, I have no idea. And if they're out there, like, please, like, I wish I could speak to you. I wish that you could like see if you relate to me, because I so desperately just want some clarity in terms of how I feel. Is it just me? Can you relate to me? Am I crazy for having these feelings? Because I'm totally okay with accepting the fact that I'm a crazy individual that are completely like warped narrative of the world. Like, I'm totally okay with coming to that conclusion. I'm not like biased. I'm not trying to say that my way is like the right way. Like, I'm so flawed. Um,
I
but I
don't think you're
just,
crazy. I think it sucks because your mind and everybody's mind is kind of a product of what they've been around. And when
and it's
you're
like you can't
around
even,
people constantly who are possibly or are judging you by your skin, that's going to be the first thing that comes to
and I can't
mind.
even blame you for looking at me like saying like, why do we even need to think like that? Because you never even been in that situation. As similar as we are as two brown people growing up in a city that, or a country that's everybody genuinely are completely different than us, is that we are so even different experiences in the way we're treated that you can even sit there and say like, Sam, I don't know why you have to be so negative or why you have to look at the worst in people when it comes to your skin. Why does it all have to boil down to the color of your skin? And I'm just sitting there like, I feel that. I totally understand why it would come off to you like as if I'm just so like in this negative or like just, you know, looking at the worst in somebody.
I guess I don't understand. I'll never understand because I've never been through more than 3 decades, developing that mental skill of survival, because that's, in my opinion, what's going through your head when you're having to run these scenarios through your mind when they're happening. But how we handle them after is kind of what I've been trying to focus on. And that is just how can I handle this in a different way so I don't not dwell on it, but don't get so stuck inside of it, inside of this thought. And I don't have an answer for you in the moment, but I think that the one thing that I see with you is that you get so caught up in these thoughts, and then it kind of just implodes how you're feeling with other things, and it just trickles on and leads on. And it's hard because I don't want to be insensitive and say it's just like a feeling you have and you have no idea if that's what this person meant or not, because you alone being here probably can understand if it's more than a feeling or not. But I guess the outcome of what happens next. And if you deem that, and it's hard because I don't even know how you would, your ideal living situation, right? Is it just the city? Is it where you go? Is it everywhere else? Because you've traveled, around the world a lot more than I have. Although you haven't lived there and kind of been in, for maybe an extended time. Do you feel that way other places too? Or is it just New York City?
I'd say the only time I that's a good question. I mean, I don't know if I can think of any other place where I felt, you know, not treated that way. But the only thing that, the first thing that I thought of is just being a kid. I feel like that's the one time that, even not being a child, not a teenager, because I think that's when it first started to hit me the really hardest. Just times of just going to like the bathroom in a restaurant and some white lady just saying like, can I have another glass of water, please? Just because I was in a black shirt.
Yeah.
It's
And
like,
you were a teenager.
I was like 12, 13. Yeah. What that even sounds like, going to a new friend's apartment who has a doorman. What apartment are you going to delivery? Like just over again. Maybe you now start to see the hate and the resentment I have for my own people. It's like I hate them for for the role that they choose to be, even if they didn't have a choice, even if if it doesn't even bother them. It bothers me so much because it's just like, yo, like, why do you have to? I know this is a pure emotional like response, not right at all, just my pure. It's just like, why do you have to be that role, because I have to suffer for your life decisions. And I know that's so fucked up, but I don't know. I just don't. I'd rather be judged for who I am than judged for somebody who I'm not.
And how can people judge you for who you are when they just see you.
For who I'm not. That's that crazy syndrome. Like, what's it called? The what's it called? That thing where you feel like you're not. Imposter syndrome to its fullest extent. You know, I don't even feel Hispanic, but yet I look it so much so. People, like, even when I went to the deli, you know, somebody was just talking to me in Spanish. And mind you, it was like a Middle Eastern.
Oh shit.
Because he knows, like, he's like, dime, you know, papi, blah blah blah. I'm like, you know, I'm not like mean. I'm like, oh, thank you very much, thank you for the pack. You know, have a great day. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm polite, but it hurts. I don't identify with that, and it pushes me away from the culture that made me, that I come from. So sorry, it's just a mix of these just pure raw emotions that have no conclusion. Just how the world that I live in at the moment. And you know, I'm not sitting here saying that this is the conclusion of how I feel.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you, when you're around somebody, or you have a conversation with somebody off the street for whatever
Mm-hmm.
reason, if it's Oreo or if it's you picked up something, how do you judge them?
What do you mean?
How do you judge them and their character after maybe like a brief 10-second conversation? Or even if you're just looking at them down the street and they're walking towards you?
It's the same way. Like I get, you know how you say that I fester on it? It's not really I fester on it. Like I just talk with you because, one, I can't talk to anybody else. Two, I'm not going to do anything brash and just act out of pure emotion to this one person who doesn't, who, it wouldn't be good for me. It wouldn't, on multiple different levels for the whole situation as a whole. So I come to you and I try and talk to you, and I'm passionate about certain events, just to kind of let you know how things went down. So in a weird way, to kind of subconsciously ask you without asking you, was I in the right? Did I feel like, did my actions or responses were warranted or not? And that goes the reversal too, when somebody who is completely of a different, who just doesn't see me for me, what I look like, but sees me for the person inside. Because there are a few people. The one person that I can say from that I really enjoyed, the briefest of conversations, was when I was in the burrito place with Oreo, and this dude who's waiting for a burrito was talking to me about Oreo, and I felt really great about it, because he genuinely didn't even look at my skin color. He was just genuinely asking about the dog and about where the dog was, how old the dog is, what breed is it, what other breeds look like that breed. And it was really nice being able to be looked at without
equally, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a real big difference here, because it's hard to know that somebody's looking at you based on your skin color, but how they treat you, I think, is the main point. Because it's very interesting when I walk into a place and I have Maya, and at first I feel a little I don't know if I want to get into this, but sometimes, when you go someplace like a bus and everybody's like, oh my God, you're a mom, and do you want to sit down? They don't say that out loud, but they'll be like, okay, Maya took a seat right there. I'm in the seat next to her. I should get up and let her sit down. And I'm like, no, it's fine. And I think when I speak and people hear my voice, they get really caught off guard. And when people can follow up with that and have a conversation, I feel good. But when people can't, and they kind of look at me a little bit differently or sideways, and then look at Maya, and then she's talking in English, straight English, and not having any kind of accent, then sometimes they get a little skittish or nervous, and that's when I can understand maybe they're talking or worrying more about our skin color and how we look and how we're kind of coming off. But I think that's interesting. The other day when we picked up the car, and you were getting out of the car and you're taking some laundry, And you had mentioned something about, oh, there was a bus that was coming up from behind. I was in the driver's seat and a bus was coming. And I've never seen a bus turn on this corner, because usually buses just go straight, based on where we were. And they came and they turned, and I was in kind of like a second lane. There was an emergency. I had my emergency lights on. And the bus came and turned, and I thought it was going to hit me. And I got a little bit nervous, and I was like, oh, like, hurry up and get out so I can, move forward a little bit. And what did you say?
I said, I said, I said, don't assume what somebody, don't, don't exhaust your extra brain power to help somebody else to certain decision without like understanding like what their move is first. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I feel like you want to make a decision easier for somebody else, and in my mind it's kind of like there's so many difficult decisions that you'll need brain power to like throughout the whole day, every given day. It's like to a certain extent you can't, it's like you're making a decision based on a decision that would, based on a pre-decision that somebody else would make. Like you're making a decision 2 decisions down their decision about their decisional choice.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why
Because
would
you had said you said you had no idea that they were going to turn like that.
So how would you know? You know.
So why
are you feeling bad for or needing to like change based on the decision that they made, knowing that they were making this turn?
Yeah.
Like,
and then you had slammed the door, and then you opened it back up, and do you remember what you said?
Mm-mm.
You opened the door
yeah.
and you smiled and you said, unless.
Yeah, unless they're being nice or respectful to you or something like that. I don't know.
And it was really funny because I think that's the number one thing here, is just treating people kindly, regardless of any other thing that they're doing, is just to treat them kindly and just to try really hard not to forget that. Because it is so easy here, especially, to not be nice. It's so easy to not be nice and to not smile, and that really bothers me. So when I go back to Minnesota and somebody's trying to strike a conversation with me, I literally don't feel comfortable. I feel very nervous for what is it that you want from me, because I probably can't give it to you. That's literally kind of how I feel. Like there's some objective that you're trying to get from me, and I don't have time because I have to do A, B, or C, or be at another location right now. So you're stopping me and halting my process. But it's interesting because lately I've just been trying to smile even if somebody isn't smiling at me, and trying to smile at people who don't fit in. Like I saw this guy by himself, and he was this big white guy, and he looked like he had some kind of mental disability and was just like down on his luck. And I just tried to smile, and I feel like my smiles are just so half-assed when they're not 100% genuine, but I feel like I've lost that sense of being able to be genuine, especially here.
Yeah, I feel that.
And it's very hard to get wrapped up in things and for people to see you a certain way, and then maybe it's like, okay, fine, have your opinions and your thoughts, but don't treat me so differently.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I've at the moment that I'm in. That's how I deal with people, where it's like if somebody gives me this weird stare down, of like a masculine stare down, I'm gonna not back down because I come from, I guess, that no one taught me this. It's just like something I picked up on my own. And if I had a dad, I'm sure he'd probably tell me this. It's just you need to stand up to bullies, or else they'll just keep bullying you until forever. If you don't kind of say, hey, you go ahead and do it, but I'm gonna fight you, and
I'm not gonna roll over.
Yeah, I'm not gonna roll over. I exist, but as well too, like if somebody is to sort of rise to the occasion when needed, but also to change in an instant, and also to be respectful and nice to other people when they're nice to you back. That's what I try and do all the time.
And it's kind of interesting sometimes because, I feel like sometimes you're a target because of how intense you look. Sometimes when we're walking and I run into you and I'm just looking at you and you don't see me and I'm across the street and I'm like, oh shit, what happened? But then I come up to you and you're like, oh, hey, what's up? And I think you're just deep in thought. Mm-hmm. You're thinking about something, but your face when you're deep in thought is very intense.
Yeah, that's another issue.
And what
probably.
happens if that's your face and you're walking by? You and I both kind of do that sometimes. Because you're deep in thought and your eyes are fixated on something. You could be like messing around with a pen, or you could be walking or whatever it is, but you're just very fixated, and it's a stare that stays with you. And sometimes I'm like, hey, and I put my hand in front of your guys' face when it happens, because I'm like, well, what is happening? Like, where is this dimension that you just jumped into? And for people who don't know you, maybe they don't understand that, and maybe that's why you get like a stare down back. I'm not blaming it on you, because I don't think it's 100% you, and it just sucks because it's just like how people make fun of the resting bitch face, right?
Yeah.
In general, and people, and like, why do you always have a resting bitch face? And it's like, yeah, that's just actually my face. I can't be smiling all the time.
But the thing is what pisses me off about that is when somebody smiles at them and they don't smile back. For me, it's like, if you smile at me, I will smile back, or at least I'll try my best to acknowledge you and just say, like, hello.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why I've adapted saying hello when I put my hand up. Mm-hmm. Like hello, like that, because if they don't hear me, at least they can see that I am acknowledging them by saying, like, hello.
Yeah.
Like, how you doing?
Yeah.
Like that. Because that's another way that I can show them respect. Because I'm literally giving them energy by putting my hand up. Even if it's the slightest bit, it's like that hand up kind of shows them, wow, he's actually taking the time to put his hand up and show, like, that he cares enough to say, like, hello, like, I see you, So, anyways.
Yeah.
That's my little sad spiel. Yeah. But I'd be curious, man. I wish there was somebody else out there who grew up in the city, was adopted, who might relate to me, how I feel. It's nice to feel not alone.
Yeah. And I feel, it makes me feel like, I feel bad because I don't 100% understand how it is, especially even if I was, grew up here. I know I would have had a little bit differently just being a woman.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, like, I'm not trying to turn it around and be positive all the time, because I know some things don't have an answer. Some things don't have some kind of conclusion, and it's just a thought that you're still learning and progressing and trying to develop and just figure it out as you go. Mm-hmm. But I also find you, like, and obviously I'll probably be biased, but like very attractive, because your face is very unique. Like, you genuinely just look like an indigenous person. I know you might not like that, but I've never seen anybody, I've seen one person my whole life that looks not like you, but the slightest similarities with, like, your cheekbones and your lips and your head and your face and your ears, just everything. I've even being in the city, a weird thing that I see on a daily basis that freaks me out is my brother. I see him on a daily basis here, and sometimes up to 5 times a day. Just a tall white male with sunglasses or a hat on or a beanie on, or, like a flannel or a hoodie layered, pants fitted, and some tennis shoes. All the time. I see him everywhere. And I don't ever see somebody like you. So it could be sometimes when people see you, I don't want to speculate and say sometimes they say this.
I mean,
but it's just another point I want to throw out there too.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm trying to imagine looking at myself. It's very, I'm, I
It's
don't
a
know, I
face you
guess,
will
but
remember when they see
it's
you.
like eye candy in a way where it's kind of like you don't know who or what I am, what I stand for, who I am. I look like I come from like Mexico or somewhere in the South, South America. My hair's long, but it's long in a way that's like a white guy's long, where it's like messy. It's not put together like a Mexican's in a perfect ponytail in the back. Like some Mexicans, they have like I don't know if you know, like
The
that
half.
just one long ponytail, and it's
Yeah.
just like very nice, and the back end is
It's like
tapered,
really
and it's
well
just
kept
yeah. And I'm just like
with
not.
gel.
It's like no, not with gel. It's just kept. It's very combed and nice. And mine is just like disheveled kind of. And I definitely dress not like them. I definitely dress like a white dude, I guess. I don't know. Like I have like just a hat, like a baseball cap styled hat, which they don't wear. There's very fitted hats. I'm specifically like the ones that I can look like worn out, or just the brim is bent. And yeah, even my facial expressions are very similar to the NFL coaches, and how they like, make these half-ass smiles, and how they like lick their lips sometimes. And, it's just, I don't know. It's just like,
But I also love that too, because I think in a world where in a world where it's so much easier to follow in the same direction as everybody else,
yeah,
it is nice that you do stick out
and which
to
is
an
weird too,
extent.
because it's just like, all this like, frustration and all this negativity, or like kind of like just hardness of feeling judged, and all these weird feelings. I still always just show my support and love for where I was come from, like in the country that I was raised in. And it's like, I'm sure so many people will be like, why though? Why do you have like this love for this place that you're saying that you just feel judged, and that you feel very uncomfortable with? And I don't even know why. I don't know. It's weird. I just I just love it. I love it. I don't know why I love it, but I love it. I mean, I guess I do. It's
You
my
do.
home. It's where I grew up. It's not perfect. I guess maybe it's like family. They're not perfect. Some people drive you freaking nuts, but that's just home. I wouldn't give it up for anything. I especially the Upper West Side. Like, I love it. I love those those judgmental middle-aged people that talk really loud and like, wow, 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 I don't get this. No, 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 no. It's not 47.50. That was 4.99, not 5.79. Change that right now. Oh, sorry, miss. Sorry, miss. I just love that. I just love that Jewish Upper West Side. Just
I was like, "Are you mocking your mom?"
yeah, no, but I grew up with that.
Yeah.
It's like, no, 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 no. That I told you, across the street, not this block, the next block. Thank you, thank you. It's like, whoa.
It's kind of funny how a lot of people can like switch on the dime.
But my mom, I was always so fascinated with her, and just how she was able to sound so just, just like, fuck you, but like not even mean it. I
Yeah.
never understand. And I'm so baffled by even the people that like take that, and they're just like, oh, sorry. Like,
Yeah.
like, I'm just like, huh. Cause I'm sure they're so confused too, cause they don't feel that either. Even though they're getting like that barrage of it, they don't
Yeah.
feel it. They're
Yeah.
just like, oh, sorry. Okay. I don't know, but
I guess it's really interesting that you bring that up, because with her, it's like you just said, it's a barrage of this. It's a barrage of her emotions and expressions, but behind that, there's still so much love.
yeah.
And that's why it's hard to take offense to that. And I feel like that's probably why people kind of are able to just be like, oh, okay, okay, like, and move on. Because when I came here and I heard her like that, I'm like, oh, fuck, like, I'm in trouble. Like, it's, but for her to turn around 2 seconds later and be like, all right, well, what are we going to have for dinner? It's very like nerve-wracking. You're like, whoa, whoa, wait, what just happened? Do we have to resolve that or not? And maybe that's why too, is like not everybody leads that way. I think your mom 100% leads with love, even if it's an intense kind of love or an intense kind of emotion or feeling. She's always 100% real with how she's feeling, but it's always ends and is able to kind of come to a conclusion with this sense of love and the sense of welcomeness, is that a word? But inclusion. So I think that's kind of...
Yeah, and that's a lot of the time where I lead. With very spirituality feelings. Like I'm not mad at what you said. I'm mad at the feelings behind what you said and what you're implying. And that's what I bite on a lot with people in every form of life that I encounter, in every facet of groups that I'm involved with, or anything I see. I don't see what you say. I see the tone and the feel behind you saying it, and I interpret that and I make my analysis. And sometimes people don't understand because they don't see what the issue was, but it's hard. You can't explain it. All you can do is just see the tone and see all that go down and just say, like, I can't explain to you. I just know that they just were coming out of a form of just negativity and just animosity, and they were looking to hurt, while the other was kind of looking to defend, or vice versa. And it's maybe a skill that I always had. Maybe it just stemmed from being around so many people when I was young and just seeing how people conducted life and how they were able to defend themselves, how they were able to communicate. And I just kind of picked up that. I was always a very observant person. I was shy, I didn't speak much, and I was watching. I was always watching, seeing how people conducted themselves, taking with what I liked and with what I didn't. Never forgetting who was there for me, and always never equally forgetting who wasn't and who hurt me. But not letting it define the future decisions that I make, and always trying to stick true to what my mom taught me subconsciously and through her actions of just always being a kind-hearted person, but always telling people how she felt too at the same time, wearing her heart on her sleeve. And that's something that I will continue to take with me and hone in and improve for the rest of my life until the day that I die. But yeah. Anyways, on that note, I'm very hungry and my pizza's getting cold.
Yes. So thank you for joining us. And if you made it to the end, thanks for hearing us out.
Yeah. Please know that I'm just like lost boy. A lot of sadness in me, a lot of just trying to make sense of this world, and to better myself and to better it, giving my piece to, making it a better place. I know it sounds cliche, but it's the honest truth, and it's how I feel every day that I'm alive. So, for what it's worth, just know that.
And we will talk to you again next week.
Yep. Peace.